Good afternoon, Pete's. We have red flags, red nunchucks, and it's time to start paying attention if you haven't been already, right? Because this is getting quite serious, okay? Red shirt, red flags, red nunchucks, red on the board. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a crisis among us. Now, (2017). This is a little obviously triggered by all of the lies and LIGO in 2017, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Waves Observatory. It detected some gravitational waves from two black holes that collided, 1.3 billion years ago. Now, the gravitational waves travel at 299,792 kilometers per second, speed of light. Now, straight away, during a solar eclipse, the sun is directly behind the moon. How can that be? How can that be if light is trickle feeding towards us at 299,792,458 meters per second? It cannot. Sun's light is obviously absolute. Something is out. Red flags. 2020 Nobel Prize. Roger Penrose. He linked the special theory of relativity to black holes. Something, okay? Not, does it really matter? Not really. Again, black holes. 299,792,458 meters per second. This is their speed of light. During a solar eclipse, it says no. Ridiculous. I am not a fool. All right. 2022. The universe, the local universe, isn't real. The 2022 Nobel Prize for working out, three of them. I'm not even going to go towards the names. I could read a little bit of it out. Okay. One of the more unsettling discoveries in the past half a century is that the universe is not locally real. In this context, real means that objects have definite properties independent of observation. An apple can be red even when no one is looking. Local means that objects can be influenced only by their surroundings and that any influence cannot travel faster than light. Investigations are blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. These three things, the common denominator, lies. From where? From up at the top. What's needed to work them out? Common sense. Nothing but common sense is needed. The solar eclipse proves beyond doubt that the light radiating from the sun is absolute. If anybody has got any logical explanation for how it plays out, if it's not, don't waste your time. Now, we are going to go and listen to the 2017 part of the Nobel Prize Awards, the ceremony or the chat around the table with those receiving the prize. And we're going to listen to what they say about LIGO, right? The Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. Now listen carefully.
That are being made in science and technology at the moment.
Listen.
One particular aspect of science which really has captured the popular imagination, of course, is the world of science fiction. I'll come to the physics.
Now, let's just listen to that again. It's easy to read between the lines, but you need to be objective.
Some of the staggering breakthroughs that are being made.
to science, which really has captured the public imagination. Popular imagination, of course, is the world of science fiction. I come to the physics laureates because you won your prize for the observation of gravitational waves. It was the first time that a passing gravitational wave has been observed directly on Earth, huge scientific sensation. So, Kip Thorne, why don't you just encapsulate for us what this was all about?
So a black hole is something that every child knows from comic books. But a black hole is a spherical hole in space that has such intense gravity that nothing can get out, not even light. And what we discovered was that 1.3 billion years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, two black holes circled around and around each other, spiraling together as they emitted these gravitational waves, losing energy to the gravitational waves. The holes came crashing together at half the speed of light, and they created a veritable storm in the shape of space and time. Time slowed down and sped up, oscillated wildly. If you can imagine time there speeding up and slowing down relative to how time flows here. And that process produced these waves in which space is stretched and squeezed, that traveled across interstellar space, intergalactic space to the Earth, and were captured by or were monitored by the instruments that were built by the experimental team that I'm associated with. This is a whole new way to study the universe, to study aspects of the universe that we've never seen before. It's a way by which we will, in due course, watch the birth of the universe, and for the first time really come to understand, through a combination of this with theory, the birth of the universe.
Ray and Barry, what kind of...
Now, my common sense, right, it's trying to get out of the cage, right? This is insane, okay? It's ridiculous. Now, I just jumped from one Nobel Prize just to see the intros. Listen to this, 2025, right? 2025.
So
Right, rewind. Now this is, it's not the same lady that introduces the other people. It's three panelists, three people sat down, this lady asks them a question. The question is, what is it like to be a human or something? 2025, one of the top biologists answers the question. Now listen very carefully.
We are going to talk about a question that has really occupied the minds of so many individuals in so many disciplines. What makes us human? What does it mean to be human? And Rich, I'm going to start with you. As a biologist, what does it take?
Well, I think if we look back at our origins coming out of Africa, clearly there were animals living there that were not human. Okay? They're apes, various gorillas, all sorts of things. And so
This isn't about that, but I'm going to come back to that after this, so maybe tonight or something, for the simple reason of evolution. I've never been 100% convinced. Now, it's the way he says this, right? I've got my reasons.
So many individuals in so many disciplines. What makes us human? What does it mean to be human? And Rich, I'm going to start with you. As a biologist, what does it take?
Well, I think if we look back at our origins coming out of Africa, clearly there were animals living there that were not human. Okay? They're apes.
The way he said were not human. There were animals living there, but they were not human. That's for later. Listen.
Apes, various gorillas, all sorts of things. And so I think one of the things that really differentiates us from the bulk of the animal kingdom is the brain, and the way in which the brain dominates our lives, allows us to do things often that we shouldn't do, but nevertheless gives us some feelings for the rest of society, for what we might do to control them, to help them, or whatever. And
Oops! Now, don't take this lightly. This guy is talking, generalizing the whole big picture, the shebang. What is it like? What is being human all about?
apes, various gorillas, all sorts of things. And so I think one of the things that really differentiates us from the bulk of the animal kingdom is the brain, and the way in which the brain dominates our lives, allows us to do things often that we shouldn't do, but nevertheless gives us some feelings for the rest of society, for what we might do to control them, to help them, or whatever. And
What we might do to control them. First, to help them. Second, third, whatever. One more time.
It is the brain, and the way in which the brain dominates our lives, allows us to do things often that we shouldn't do, but nevertheless gives us some feelings for the rest of society, for what we might do to control them, to help them, or whatever.
Now, during the solar eclipse, when the sun is directly behind the moon and the shadow is being cast onto our planet, and people find themselves in that sweet spot moment, right? You, the person in the shadow, the moon, and the sun are in a direct line, a precise, laser-like straight line. That simply cannot happen unless the sun's light is absolute. It's so, it really does hurt. It does. Now, LIGO, gravitational waves, 1.3 billion years ago, traveling at 299,792,458 meters per second during a solar eclipse. Roger Penrose, special relativity and black holes. There's a link. During a solar eclipse, it simply cannot play out the way it does unless the sun's light is absolute, okay? 2022. The universe, the local universe, is not real. Look, guys, wake up. You might head over to evolution a little bit later, and for good reason. Guys, look at the 2017 Nobel Prize Awards, and you'll see halfway through it, minute 40 something, if you listen to what these people are saying. All right, I will be back.
Our kingdom is the brain, and the way in which the brain dominates our lives, allows us to do things often that we shouldn't do, but nevertheless gives us some feelings for the rest of society, for what we might do to control them, to help them, or whatever. And
Wake up. Seriously. Wakey. Later, peeps.